Welcome back to my channel. Get yourself a comfy pillow, sit in front of the TV, and enjoy this wonderful time. Don't forget to leave a 1 in the comments. The Chinese have transformed wild boars from an invasive species into a valuable livestock animal, creating a highly profitable farming industry. Originally wild, fast-breeding, and destructive to crops, wild boars have been cleverly adapted by the Chinese as a nutritious food source. Wild boars are primarily raised in provinces such as Guangdong, Hunan, Guizhou, and Yunnan, where mountainous terrain and dense forests provide ideal conditions for farming. These regions have a long tradition of consuming wild boar meat, and the growing demand has driven efforts to domesticate and farm them in controlled environments. The farming system for wild boars is relatively simple, designed to accommodate their natural instincts. Farmers typically build enclosures using reinforced steel mesh or concrete to prevent escapes, but they do not require the complex equipment used in traditional pig farming. The cost of constructing these enclosures is relatively low, ranging from $1,000 to $3,000, depending on the scale and materials used. Some farms even take advantage of natural forested landscapes, fencing off large areas where wild boars can forage for food, significantly reducing feeding costs. Raising wild boars is significantly different from raising traditional domestic pigs. Since wild boars retain many of their natural instincts, their care, diet, and resistance to disease also differ greatly. One of the biggest differences is their diet. Wild boars are omnivores and can forage for food in their natural environment. Their diet does not need to be as carefully managed as that of domestic pigs, as they can digest a wide variety of foods, including grains, vegetables, roots, insects, and even small animal carcasses. Farmers typically feed them coarse foods such as corn, sweet potatoes, cassava, elephant grass, and agricultural byproducts to cut costs. Due to their ability to digest diverse food sources, wild boars are not picky eaters, making them easier and more affordable to feed. When it comes to disease resistance, wild boars are much healthier than domestic pigs. Because of their wild origins, they have a stronger immune system and higher resistance to common pig diseases such as African swine fever, diarrhea, and respiratory infections. Additionally, wild boars grow at a slower rate than domestic pigs, as they primarily consume natural food and are rarely fed industrial feed. Free-range wild boars typically take 12 to 18 months to reach a weight of 175 to 220 pounds, whereas domestic pigs can reach the same weight in just 6 to 8 months. However, wild boar meat is considered more valuable due to its lower fat content, firmer texture, and richer flavor compared to industrially farmed pork. Wild boars in farm environments have a fairly good reproduction rate. They retain the strong reproductive instincts of their wild ancestors, but can be managed and optimized under stable farming conditions. A mature female wild boar can reproduce once or twice a year, giving birth to 4 to 8 piglets per litter, depending on nutrition and overall care. Compared to domestic pigs, the litter size is smaller, but wild boar piglets tend to be healthier and have a higher survival rate due to their natural disease resistance. In farm settings, wild boar sows have a gestation period of around 115 days, similar to domestic pigs. After giving birth, piglets nurse for about 6 to 8 weeks before being weaned and introduced to solid food. Their growth rate is steady, but slower than that of domestic pigs because their diet consists of less starch and no industrial growth feeds. At 2 to 3 months old, wild boar piglets typically weigh 22 to 33 pounds and continue to grow until they reach full maturity. Their development rate in farm environments depends on the quality of care. If they are raised in spacious enclosures with room to roam and a sufficient food supply, they grow well, with a survival rate reaching 80 to 90%. Wild boar meat is highly valued for its distinctive flavor, rich nutrition, and lower fat content compared to domestic pork. Because wild boars have a natural diet consisting of vegetables, grains, roots, and even insects, their meat is leaner, darker red, less watery, and more flavorful than industrially farmed pork. Wild boar meat also has a higher protein content while being lower in fat and cholesterol, making it a great choice for health-conscious consumers. Due to its high quality and rarity compared to regular pork, wild boar meat is significantly more expensive. In China, prices range from $6 to $12 per pound. If the boars are entirely free-range and raised without industrial feed, the price can be even higher due to the superior meat quality. Leave a 1 in the comments if you enjoyed our video. Wild boar meat is a prized ingredient in Chinese cuisine, used to create a variety of specialty dishes with rich and delicious flavors. Thanks to its firm texture, low fat content, and naturally sweet taste, wild boar meat offers a unique culinary experience compared to domestic pork. One of the most famous dishes is stir-fried wild boar with lemongrass and chili, which is especially popular in southern China. Thin slices of meat are quickly stir-fried over high heat with lemongrass, garlic, dried chili, and soy sauce, creating a spicy, aromatic dish that excites the taste buds. Herbal braised wild boar is another beloved dish, particularly in the winter. The meat is slow-cooked with ginseng, goji berries, red dates, and traditional Chinese herbs, resulting in a light, naturally sweet broth. The meat remains tender yet retains its characteristic chewiness. This dish is not only flavorful, but also considered highly nutritious, believed to promote overall health. Additionally, wild boar hot pot is a popular choice, often served at family gatherings. Thin slices of wild boar are dipped into spicy Sichuan broth or herbal hot pot, preserving their rich and savory flavor. While China has turned wild boars into a valuable livestock industry, in the United States, these animals have become a true nightmare. With a population exceeding 6 million, wild boars cause billions of dollars in economic damage each year, destroying crops, harming ecosystems, and even posing a threat to humans. In the US, wild boars not only reproduce rapidly but also adapt exceptionally well, making them one of the most dangerous invasive species. A single sow can give birth to 4 to 12 piglets per litter and can reproduce twice a year, leading to a rapid population explosion. They devastate corn, wheat, and soybean fields, as well as vineyards, causing an estimated $2.5 billion in losses annually for American farmers. In the United States, wild boars are a serious problem, and both the government and the public have implemented various measures to control them, primarily through trapping and hunting. Trapping is widely used because it can capture multiple boars at once. Common traps include large corral traps with automatic drop gates or net traps designed to contain entire groups of boars when they enter in search of food. Bait such as corn, grain, or fermented feed is often used to lure wild boars into the traps. Some modern traps are equipped with motion sensors and surveillance cameras, allowing hunters to remotely trigger the trap when they see boars inside. Besides trapping, hunting is also a crucial method for reducing the wild boar population. Many states in the US encourage unrestricted hunting, allowing people to take down wild boars year-round without a permit. Some areas even conduct helicopter hunts, where hunters use rifles to eliminate wild boars from above, particularly in Texas, which has the largest wild boar population in the country. Additionally, professional hunters are hired to manage wild boars in areas experiencing severe damage. In some locations, nighttime hunting with infrared lights and thermal scopes is permitted, making it easier to remove wild boars when they are most active. Leave a 0 if you don't like wild boars. In recent years, the method of cultivating oysters in mesh bags has become popular due to its flexibility and ease of harvesting. The mesh bags are attached to a system of ropes and suspended in the ocean, placed at depths ranging from 6 to 12 feet below the water's surface. Oysters absorb nutrients through the process of filtering seawater. As seawater flows through the mesh bags hanging from the ropes, oysters open their shells and use small filtering organs, called gills, to draw water into their bodies. During this process, they separate nutrients such as plankton, algae, and small organic particles from the seawater, and then absorb them through their digestive system. The clean water, after being filtered, is pushed back into the marine environment. This suspended method allows oysters to access the natural flow of seawater, providing a continuous and abundant food supply. As a result, oysters not only receive adequate nutrients but also grow better than they would near the ocean floor, where the water can be polluted by silt and has less flow. This method is implemented in over 20 countries with coastal areas, including New Zealand, Canada, and the United States. After harvesting, the oysters are taken to the processing plant. They are placed in long bags and positioned under funnel-shaped machines to ensure they are sorted thoroughly. Next, the oysters are moved to the processing line, where they are funneled into a shellfish shucking machine. This machine uses pressure and motion to allow workers to easily separate the oyster meat from the shells. In the final step, workers weigh and package the oysters according to specific quantities. Oysters are essential for the body. They are high in protein, which helps build and repair muscles, along with minerals such as iron, zinc, and copper, which are crucial for cardiovascular health. When boiled, oysters retain their natural sweetness and appealing flavor. Boiled oysters are often enjoyed with noodles, creating a delicious and nutritious meal that provides satisfaction to those who indulge. Like oysters, clams are also a nutritious seafood that is becoming increasingly popular in modern cuisine. Leave a number 0 if you don't want to continue watching the video. Farming and harvesting oysters not only provides a rich food source, but also makes a significant contribution to the local economy. To get started, selecting quality oyster breeds is the first step. Researchers survey and analyze various types of oysters to identify those with fast growth rates, good resistance, and high meat quality. After selection, the seed oysters are bred under controlled conditions to maintain their superior traits. In addition to their nutritional value, oyster farming and harvesting also provide numerous economic benefits to the community. Many fishermen have transitioned from traditional fishing to oyster farming to increase their income. The oyster farming model not only creates jobs for locals, but also attracts tourists to visit oyster farms, contributing to the development of ecotourism. Interestingly, oysters have a very high reproductive capacity. A single female oyster can produce millions of eggs during each spawning season. Thanks to this ability, the oyster farming industry can develop sustainably, providing a rich food source for the market. When it's time to harvest, farmers pull the mesh bags from the water. This usually occurs in the fall when the oysters have reached optimal size after about 12 to 18 months of cultivation. Interestingly, farmers often use a piece of equipment called a marine crane to easily lift the mesh bags, saving time and effort. After harvesting, the oysters are washed to remove silt and any impurities on their shells. Instead of only harvesting the larger oysters, fishermen return the smaller ones to the sea so they can continue to grow, ensuring a sustainable supply for the future. Leave a number 1 in the comments if you like this method of oyster farming. To improve the quality of farmed oysters, research and selection of superior breeds play a crucial role in aquaculture. Researchers conduct surveys of various breeding sources, including wild and farmed oysters. Samples are analyzed genetically to determine traits such as growth rate, disease resistance, and meat quality. Through this research, they can identify the best individuals for breeding. Once a good strain is established, researchers breed oysters by allowing them to spawn under controlled conditions to ensure that genetic factors are preserved. They monitor the development of new individuals, recording growth rates, reproductive levels, and disease resistance capabilities. Oysters are a delicious seafood that is popular in the cuisine of many countries. One of the signature dishes made with oysters is baked oysters with cheese. To prepare this dish, fresh oysters are selected, cleaned, and shucked. Next, the oysters are placed on a baking tray and topped with a layer of mozzarella or Parmesan cheese. A bit of melted butter and minced garlic are also added to enhance the flavor. After baking at a high temperature for about 10 to 15 minutes, the cheese melts, forming a golden crust, while the oysters inside remain fresh and sweet. This dish is often enjoyed with fresh lemon sauce or cocktail sauce for an extra burst of flavor. Oysters are typically farmed by suspending them on ropes or in cages, allowing them to have good exposure to water flow and natural nutrients. The suspended method enables oysters to grow in a stable environment, usually at depths of 10 to 30 feet, where there is ample light and dissolved oxygen. Throughout the cultivation period, farmers need to monitor the oyster's growth and check for the presence of algae and other marine organisms that may affect their development. If necessary, they can supplement the oyster's diet with nutritious feed to enhance their health. Once the oysters reach an optimal size, the harvesting process begins. The harvest usually occurs in the summer or early fall when the oysters are freshest. Fishermen use boats or cranes to lift the oyster baskets from the water's surface. After harvesting, the oysters are washed to remove silt and impurities. Workers sort the oysters by size and quality in preparation for processing. Another standout dish made with oysters is fresh oysters dipped in wasabi. This dish is popular in Japanese cuisine and coastal countries. To enjoy this delicacy, medium-sized, fresh oysters are selected. After being cleaned, the oysters are left in their shells and are typically served on ice to maintain their freshness. When eaten, the oysters are dipped in green wasabi, a distinctive seasoning in Japanese cuisine. The sharp heat of the wasabi complements the oyster's natural sweetness, creating a delightful flavor combination. Oysters are not only delicious seafood, but also provide significant economic value through their shells. After processing, oyster shells can be ground into powder, which is used as organic fertilizer or as a raw material for producing construction materials, such as eco-friendly cement. Additionally, oysters are extracted for their essence, which is bottled in factories for use in the food and cosmetics industries.